Hello everyone, Rosemarie Neumayer here. Welcome back to my channel. And I had a very interesting idea and I put it into action, and I think I might have just discovered the fastest way to make an 18-inch doll skirt. And I'll show you. Ta-da! Here's Charlie, and she's wearing it. And it's just a super fast little thing. I've made it long. You can make it shorter, however you like. So I'll walk you through it. Track pants. I don't know about you, but certainly for me, I'm always wearing through them. And for me, the problematic area is in the thigh area where they touch. I know some people who always wear at their knees, things like that, right? So what I do is when, I've worn out that area, I just come along with a sharp pair of scissors and cut the legs off, right? And then I have shorts because, you can wear my shorts because it's cutoffs, right? Just like you would denim. And when you cut off an edge from a track pant, these are a pair of Roots, by the way. I love Roots track pants just because for me personally, they fit the best with my shape. And the material is always very sensory friendly. So for the most part, actually, the cloud pants can be a little overheating, but anyway, yeah. So see, it creates that automatic edge. So you don't actually have to hem it. Like, I've left enough room here that if I decide to, because I just did this to test it, that if I wanted to, I could come along and fold this up and hem it along, right? If I so chose to. But you don't have to. And that's the great thing about track pant material, right? Anyway, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So we'll borrow Charlie here again. For the purpose of this one, I'm just going to slip her coat off so you can see what's been done. And like I said, it's not, yeah, it's just a comfy hanging around the house skirt, right? Or going out casual. And what I've done is using the leg where it comes together. So, because it's just a little bit too big. I actually was hoping that this would be just enough, but it wasn't. So I had to do a little fold and stitch. So that's it. Now, if you're a smaller person, the foot spot might actually be smaller. You might get lucky. You might not actually need to do any sewing. Yeah, but if you do need to do a little sewing, that's all. You just gather it and put in a few little stitches. They don't have to be pretty, and all the way through. That's it. So yeah, so what I did is I take my cut off track pant leg and just slip it up onto the doll. And then you just put it in place where you want it, right at the waist. And then come around to the back. And they've got all this bulk, right, from it. So I honestly, probably a kid's track pant, you wouldn't need to adjust, I would imagine, or like a child's size, but certainly for this. So, okay, so we're just gonna kind of come over. Oh, move your hair, Charles, please. And yeah, little Miss Wendy, let's move our hair. Okay, so I'm at the waist and I'm just coming over a little more to the seam area so that this sits in the middle, right? Okay, and then so folding that in, grabbing a pin, because pins are useful. You can use a safety pin or you can just use regular straight pins. And so just putting that, don't want to pin the doll, although I mean it's not going to hurt her if you do, but I don't want to. So putting in a pin there, and because we're going to be pulling it back off of her, should probably, here, put this down. put in another pin from the other way. And there we go. Pinned. Ta-da! Okay, and now I'm just going to slip this off. And then we can just flatten the pins here. I'm just going to put them in a little neater. Ow. And prick myself with them. And there we go. So then, there we go. Come on. It's like, no, I already pinned one, so I'm not doing it again. Yeah, okay, this isn't working. Let's try it again. Okay, yeah. I might have to switch to a safety pin just for my own issues here. Safety pins are certainly a lot easier to work with. I'll give you that. Okay. Now, can we try this again, please? And get this right. I'm not always the best at pinning. It's a thing. There is a subtle art to pinning, by the way. And I did costuming in film and theater, for a decade. And I still, still find myself struggling with this from time to time. Okay, so I'm going to hold the spot where I put the pin in, because that's probably smarter to do. And take it out. There we go. So, all right. So that's that done. So now I've got the spot here where it's folded over. Now, if you don't want to do any sewing whatsoever, you could just literally get a safety pin and work it through here and done. Now, the other thing that you want to do is just sew that in place. And if you're doing the sewing method, which I am. So I'm going to take, this is kind of an orangey pink. So the last one I used an orange, the test, but for this one I'll just use a pink, because it really, it's kind of an odd colored track pant. They were quite comfortable, actually. And fun. I like wearing the colors. It's just, a little less boring. And I'm going to get my thread off of my little sewing kit thing here. So when you have these little sewing kit thingies, this can be a pain. But at the same time, if you're someplace and you run out of thread, or you are in a, oh my gosh, I did that once. Okay, I used to work in a shoe store years ago, and I had one of, I was associate manager, and one of my girls bought a brand new skirt. Lovely little pencil skirt, looking smart. Personally, I would not wear a skirt. I did it once and was just like, no, I have to bend and all this stuff. This is not practical. And I'm very practical when it comes to my clothes. I like them to be functional. And so anyway, so I was just like, no, I'm not going to wear a skirt to work again. So that was me. And I just, had kept that up. And so I hadn't thought of it, but the pencil skirt she wore did not survive the day because the stitches, she bent down, and remember I said this is a pencil skirt, and the stitches just all went, the seam up the back just all went rip, 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 and you could hear it in the store. I felt so bad for her. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Let me take some water here. And so the poor girl is like, my skirt. And I'm just like, and I was just like, oh no. And she was with a customer, and thankfully this happened when she was in the back room. I'm going to start sewing now as I'm telling this story. So what I do is I fold the, this is an old trick. I fold the thread in half, and then I tie a little knot in the end so that I have a spot, and then thread it through. So this gives you a thread that's twice the thickness, but also gives you a spot to put your end in. So going from the back of the thing, like the inside of it, and okay, just gonna pass that on through. This is what's called running stitch, by the way, in case you're wondering, because you just run it back and forth. And so we'll put it there and then send this back on through. And because I put that lovely knot in the end here, there we go. You can just loop it through. And so that way, there's a knot. And then there is a little bit of yarn, thread there. Yarn. So used to using yarn for this stuff. I don't hand sew too much anymore. And, oh, there we go. Slipped off the needle. But it gives you that ending spot. And I find it's easier to thread one of these too than to thread just a single strand, because that's what they'll tell you to do with a single strand, is to fold it over to push it through the thing. So by having it looped, you're already doing that. Anyway, so going back to the story here, as I'm just doing this little running stitch, poor girl is just horrified. Like I said, thankfully she was in the back room, and you know, she was with a customer, but at least when the skirt ripped, she was in the back room. And it was just, no, she was with the customer. She came running into the back room. That's what it was. She was with her customer and backed away slowly because she heard it. And then she came running into the back room where I was, because that's how that went. Yeah. And I was putting away stock. And she's like, my skirt just ripped. I don't know what to do. And so I'm like, okay, wow, that sucks. It turned around. Yeah, it did. So, okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to go and hang out back here, or even just hide yourself in the bathroom if you'd rather. And I will go and finish up with your customer for you, and then we'll take care of your skirt. And that's what I did. Finished up with her customer, put the sail under her because she'd done the legwork, right? So it was just the right thing to do. She couldn't help it that her skirt ripped. That was terrible. And so now here we get to this part. I'm going to pull out these guys because I've got this part keeping it down, so I don't need this anymore. The pins, so I'll pull them out. And then back to just sewing a little bit down this way. And keeping the things all lined up. So if it's not going to be a huge issue, but just it's helpful too. And then anyway, so she's into the back room. I've put her sail under her because the sale did happen, which was nice. The shoes were sold. And then I went into the back room, and yes, she hid herself in the bathroom. And I was just like, okay, so what do you want to do about this? I'm like, okay, so it's a night shift. It's a slow evening, other than that one particular sale. I was just like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to fix your skirt for you, because I used to, when I was working, I would carry an emergency sewing kit like this with me, because you never know when something's going to happen. I like to be prepared. That's just me. The boss once said that if she was stranded on a desert island, you know how you can pick one person to be with you? Yeah, she wouldn't pick a person. She'd pick my purse, because I would have everything. I was always prepared. And so anyway, I would have, you know, I still do actually. I have a little sewing kit for emergencies. I have, oh, don't let me, okay. Finicky fingers were starting to hyperextend. I'm like, no, stay down. Stay curved in. And anyway, so I have everything in it, including the little sewing kit and Band-Aids and, you know, even emergency candy because I get low blood sugar. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, so I had this little sewing kit in my purse, and I just went and I grabbed it, and I said, just, you know, take your skirt off, pass it out to me, and I'll repair the hem. And that's what I did. I brought the skirt out to the front counter, and she just waited in the bathroom, and I brought the skirt out, and I just, you know, sewed it up for her. I spent the half hour just hand sewing this thing for her. And of course, addressing any customers or things that would come in. There was one person that walked by and, it came in just a quick peek and dropped what I was doing. And they were like, and of course they asked, so I had to tell. And they're like, oh, that's really sweet of you. And yeah, and then I don't think that person bought anything, but they just, it's always nice to have positive interactions with customers when you're working customer service, because that's where your business comes from. And plus, it's just nice, right? Like, if you're going to have to talk to someone, why not make it a pleasant experience? That's just my thoughts on the matter. But anyway, so there we go. This is done. So I'm just going to pick up a little stitch here. So what I did is I went all the way down and then I came back up a little bit. And then I'm just going to pick up a stitch here and slide the through. And oh, I'll drop my thread again. And yeah, so I stood there, I did the skirt, and then patch that through, and then leaving this little loop so that you can pass this through the thread under itself and just knot it off, because it just makes it a little more secure, so that it's not going anywhere. And then I do that a second time because it's just a good idea to do. Make it a little more secure. You don't want, if you're going to go through all the trouble to sew this, you don't want it to come undone. And again, it's all on, you do all this on the inside, so you don't have to, fuss with it. So then, okay, and then pass that on through, so you don't have to see it. But yeah, so I stood there, I sewed her skirt, and took out the bad thread, and I used this all the black from my sewing kit there. When I got home, I had to refill it, and sewed up her skirt for her, and it looked great and it worked great, and she was a little more careful bending down. But actually after that, it was interesting because she said, worked with her for a couple of years there, and she said that it never came undone after that hem kept. She was so happy to have it repaired, and because it was her brand new skirt. It's just, oh, that was such a horrible thing. So and so embarrassing. Okay, so this is done now. I put my little stitch in, like little stitches, and you can put that at the front or you can put that at the back. It really doesn't matter. It's a personal preference thing. And then I'm just going to slide this up onto Charlesy here, and we're going to see where we're going to cut it. Because, yeah, see, now it's nice and tight on her, like a proper skirt would be. I put it in place, and then I'm just going to take, now you could measure this if you wanted to, or you could even use like another skirt to put over top to kind of be like, right about there. Or you can take a Sharpie. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to come down onto, I'm going to make this one a little shorter than the other one. So here's her knee, and I'm just going to put a little mark right above the knee so that I know where I'm going to be cutting, because you want to cut just above that little mark. So like I said, you could use measuring tape, you could use another skirt that you like the length of to kind of use as a marker, and whatever you like, right? This is just one way, and it's a lot, I think anyway, a lot faster. So then you can lay this flat, scissors. Oh, if you're cutting fabric, always very sharp scissors. There's a reason why people are like, my fabric scissors, because fabric scissors are just really sharp scissors. That's all it is. There's nothing special about them, for the record. They're just really sharp. That's it. So if you're ever wondering why, people who sew make such a fuss about their fabric scissors, there's nothing really special about them. They're just really sharp, because when you're cutting fabric, you want it to be sharp, and that's it. So you just lay it flat and cut right above that little dot in a straight line. Now, if you have trouble cutting a straight line, then again, measuring tape, go for it. You can measure it out and measure it straight. But for the most part, I'm pretty good at it. And then there we go. There's the excess. You can set that aside and use it for another project. And let's try on Charlesy's a new skirt. And ta-da, 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 and ta-da, ta-da. Okay. Oh, that looks cute. Okay, and then put that there. Okay. And there it is. Look at how cute that looks. That looks really good. Okay, and then I'm going to bring down her t-shirt. Now, would I keep it with this t-shirt? I don't know. It's kind of fun, actually. Well, and maybe I might. It's a little clashy because of the oranges, but you know, there's something about being a kid that, you know, you just kind of, And I've never been afraid to be a little bold looking. I think Charlesie could pull it off, especially with the coat. With the coat on this, it really tempers it. But anyway, so there we go. And there is the fastest doll skirt I think you'll ever make. Incomplete with all my ramblings. So anyway, so hope you enjoyed this, and that's the end of the video. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll make sure they're answered. Yeah, have a great day. Bye.